Personal Story segment tonight, the unnecessary death of Mesa, Arizona police officer Brandon Mendoza. On May 12th of this year, Officer Mendoza was off duty, driving on a Phoenix area freeway. Suddenly, a car came at him head-on, smashed into his vehicle. Mr. Mendoza was killed. The driver of the car, 42-year-old illegal alien Raul Corona, was drunk. He was also killed. Corona had a criminal past. In 1994, he was charged with assaulting a police officer and burglary in Colorado. Corona did not show up for a hearing on those charges, disappearing. In May 2002, he was apprehended by the Border Patrol, sent back to Colorado, where he was sentenced to, get this, 3 years probation, and they let him go. They didn't even deport him. 3 weeks ago, Officer Mendoza's mother, Mary Ann, wrote a letter to President Obama. She joins us now from Phoenix. What did you say to the president in the letter, Ms. Mendoza?
I just asked him for an explanation of why illegal criminals are allowed to stay in our country and kill our citizens. And, you know, doing some research and finding out what his agenda is on all of these issues is he's willing to raise the limit of the crimes that illegals are able to commit in this country before they are deported. And I don't think that this is something that American citizens should allow to happen. All
right. So you say, you contend that the president is soft on deporting illegal alien criminals. That's your core belief?
Absolutely.
When you wrote the letter, you described your son, who was a patriot, obviously a law enforcement officer, the victim of this terrible thing. And I agree with you entirely. There's no way Raul Corona should have been in this country. No way at all. Okay? Now, do you expect the president or any member of his administration to give you an answer to your questions?
I would hope that he could at least acknowledge that he has received this letter from me and that he understands the issues that I'm talking to him about in the letter. He has newsworthy opportunities when people approach him and thank him for Obamacare, that they have insurance. And I really feel that this is a newsworthy situation. My son took an oath to protect people in his community, and he fought to get people like this off the street to keep our community safe. And President Obama needs to acknowledge that there are problems like this happening, and our children are being killed by illegal criminals who are allowed to stay in this country and repeatedly commit crimes.
And this wasn't a low-level guy. This was a guy who assaulted a Colorado police officer. I mean, and burglarized. I mean, this wasn't somebody who, you know, was caught with a misdemeanor, and the authorities couldn't care less. I agree with you 100%. I'm glad you did what you did. I don't expect you will receive any kind of an answer. You know why, Ms. Mendoza? Because there is no answer. There is no answer. All right? The federal government is derelict in this, all of these things. As soon as an illegal alien commits a crime, no matter what the crime is, on the next plane, unless it's a felony when you try them and put them in prison. You don't give them probation and let them walk out the door. That's insane.
You and I would be spending time for those crimes that he committed.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, there are some jurisdictions that are very soft on crime, but I do know this. There isn't one validation. There isn't one good point to be made. I had an argument with Geraldo Rivera a couple of years ago that almost, you know, got all over the place. People should check it out on the internet. Because I said, once a criminal act is committed by an illegal alien, there are no second chances. You either go to jail or you go back to where you came from. You don't walk around. You don't put them out. You don't give them bail. And that's exactly what happened, and that's what killed your son. I'll give you the last word.
I just would really like my president of the United States, who represents our country, to acknowledge that this is a big problem. And I have just signed a letter with another group of people going to Speaker Boehner to ask him to please address this issue and allow the American voices to be heard.
Well, if you get any reaction on Ms. Mendoza, please let us know, okay?
I will, and thank you for having me on, Bill.
Sure.